Today on the CTV News at 5, Decision Day in Alberta.
A little bit of nervousness this morning.
It's a dash to the finish line. Now it's up to Alberta voters. Plus, why several U of L students were turned away at the polling booth. And a Fort Macleod man is now under arrest after a deadly hit and run in Lethbridge.
CTV News with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. In just under 3 hours, the polls will close in what many people say is an historic election here in Alberta. Voter turnout across southern Alberta has been steady today, with some polling stations reporting higher than expected numbers at certain times this morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Lethbridge East PC candidate Bridget Pasteur cast her ballot in North Lethbridge this morning. She is seeking re-election under the PC banner this time, while the Liberals are hoping Rob Miyashiro can hold on to the constituency. Election officials say it appears a record number of Albertans cast ballots in the advance polls that ran from Thursday to Saturday, but past elections show that doesn't necessarily translate into a bigger turnout on election day. Analysts say the heated campaign may bring out more people, but we won't know for sure until after the polls close at 8 p.m. tonight.
Well, I believe it's your civic duty to come out and vote and have your voice heard. So even though probably none of my party's going to win, I still have to vote.
Chance to vote. Make sure the right party got in power.
Of course, it would always be good if there was a bigger turnout, I think. So any kind of attention is probably good attention, but I hope that everyone's been actually keeping up with what's going on more than just the hype surrounding change.
The turnout has been steady in both Lethbridge constituencies. Some of the biggest numbers have been at polling stations in West Lethbridge, and we've also had reports that there has been very heavy turnouts in the Livingstone-Macleod constituency. And things are starting to gear up at PC headquarters in Calgary. Earlier today, Alison Redford brought her daughter along as she cast her ballot in the riding of Calgary Elbow. She then jetted off to Edmonton and spent the afternoon working her way back to Calgary. Chris Epp joins us from the PC headquarters in Calgary. And Chris, the PCs have held power in Alberta for over 40 years, but that could end tonight. It's a very big night for the Tories.
Yeah, what a campaign. Hey, it's so different than every other campaign we've seen really for a whole generation, where normally election every 4 years, polls close at 8 o'clock. At 8:01, we know the Conservatives have won another majority government. The polls are telling a far different story this time, and that's really why all parties have been campaigning so hard for 4 weeks. The Tories, really, we've seen an effort from them that we haven't seen before, because really they didn't have to make as much of an effort in the past. We'll see how it all plays out tonight. I can tell you the mood among Tory organizers is one of nervousness. The leader herself, Alison Redford, is going to be watching the campaign. Watch the results come in from home tonight before coming here to the Metropolitan Centre. Same case for a lot of campaign managers and a lot of other Tory insiders who are sort of going to go either from their homes or headquarters, get a sense of the results as they come trickling in, and they'll have a better idea of what to expect later. But boy, what a different night from what we've seen before, and even from what we expected 6 weeks ago. So we'll see if the effort made by Tories, they're certainly hoping it pays off. We'll find out in a few hours.
Thank you, Chris. Now, Danielle Smith voted in her riding of High River this morning. She spent the rest of the day in her riding meeting with supporters. Smith agrees with political experts who say this will be an historic vote for Albertans, and she says she is looking forward to Tuesday morning and the new look of the legislature. Bridget Brown is standing by in High River tonight. And Bridget, how is the preparation going at Wildrose headquarters?
Well, Jackie, they're testing out the sound system. They're setting up the room. We're getting a sense of what the room is going to look like. The question on everyone's mind here is, what is the province going to look like after tonight? It's been a campaign of some real ups and downs for the Wildrose Party. They entered this campaign neck and neck with the PCs, but the real tipping point came on April 3rd. That's when a Think HQ poll for CTV showed them really pull out ahead with a commanding lead of 13, 14 points. But after a rough week of campaigning this past week, with the leader having to speak out in support of some off-book comments from a couple of her hopeful MLAs, it's been a narrowed lead. Polls across the province showing about 41% support for the Wildrose. Many people here wondering what that's going to translate into tonight. And of course, we'll have those results for you in our election coverage. Jackie?
Thank you, Bridget. Now, party leaders were also busy voting in Edmonton as well. The Liberals' Ross Sherman cast his vote at his Edmonton riding. He says tomorrow Albertans will be able to thank Liberals for ending decades of Tory rule. NDP leader Brian Mason also cast his ballot in his Edmonton riding. He predicts the next Legislative Assembly will include a significant number of new Democrats and is encouraging everyone to get out today and vote. Now, University of Lethbridge students were upset with election laws. They say they are simply barriers to them voting. Organizers of the school's Get Out the Vote campaign say the Elections Act needs to be updated after several students were turned away at advanced polls. Daryl Rummold reports.
Get out! No! Get out! No!
The student union rallied the troops, got dozens of their friends and classmates to board buses and head to the polls, and waited in long lineups to cast their ballot. In some cases, met by elections officials who
said, "I'm sorry, you can't vote here."
Andrew Gurn, Stephen Triber, and Storm Lafferty were in that group. All three say they provided what they understood to be proper paperwork, identifying themselves as Lethbridge residents. One by one, all three were pulled to the side and told no.
He told me that that my room number changed from year to year, so it was a temporary address, and that I couldn't vote in that subdivision because I didn't live there permanently in that specific room. Oh, I felt defeated, to be honest with you. I'm confused as to what I can do, like what the alternative is. Like I've been told that it's possible that I might try again on Monday, or I drive home to Calgary to vote in my riding.
It's that feeling that raises the most concern to campaign organizers.
Oh, it's extremely frustrating. You know, we put a lot of effort in to get a lot of students down to the polls, only to find out that there are a lot of barriers in place which prevent them from voting.
Elections officials say they were just following the rules, but students say those rules, specifically the ordinary residence determination, is archaic, observed by only Alberta and Nova Scotia, and needs to be eliminated. Organizers of the Get Out the Vote campaign say 2,000 students at the University of Lethbridge and 10,000 province-wide pledged to head to the polls in this provincial election. They don't know how many have been or will be turned away once they get there. They say if even one student is turned away, they may be turned off of voting altogether, and that would be a major blow for democracy. Daryl Rummold, CTV News, Lethbridge.
And Dory Rossiter, the other big topic today, the weather. And there was a lot of speculation that we could be breaking some records. Did that happen?
No, that did not happen for Lethbridge. Yeah, we haven't hit the mark, 34 degrees. It was an old record set back in 1906, so we didn't get that warm. But boy, it was warm out there. Not much wind, just a little bit of a breeze, but there was lots of shirts and T-shirts and shorts and sandals today. But that will all change for Thursday and Friday. I'll give you a heads up in a couple of minutes.
Okay, thank you, Dory. A Fort Macleod man is now under arrest after a deadly hit and run early Sunday morning in Lethbridge. Just after midnight, police responded to a 911 call about a body on the road near the overpass. Officers found a 17-year-old deceased at the scene. Police tell us Feather Love Grassy Water was visiting from Missoula, Montana. Police arrested a Fort Macleod man, 27-year-old Joshua Cornell Van Herk. And he's charged with failing to remain at the scene of an accident where death is involved. His Dodge Ram pickup was also seized by investigators. A sentencing date has been set for a Lethbridge man whose murder conviction has been overturned. In November of 2009, Bradley Gray was found guilty of second-degree murder in the death of this man, 37-year-old George Shawnee Minishotz. He was sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole for 10 years. Then last February, the Alberta Court of Appeal overturned the murder conviction and replaced it with manslaughter. They ruled that the trial judge erred in his charge to the jury. Gray will be sentenced on the manslaughter conviction July the 17th. Now, Edmonton RCMP have now laid murder charges in connection with the disappearance of Lyle and Marie McCann nearly 2 years ago. RCMP announced this morning 40-year-old Travis Vader has been charged with first-degree murder of both Lyle and Marie McCann. Vader was arrested at the Edmonton Remand Center where he was being held on unrelated charges. Lyle and Marie McCann were last seen alive on July 3rd, 2010. Their burned-out motorhome was found on July 5th, and the SUV they were towing behind it was found abandoned 4 days later. Vader will appear in court next month on the murder charges. A former Tabor man facing decade-old sexual assault charges has now been released on bail. Police allege that the crimes happened between 1995 and 2001 and involved 2 victims between the ages of 10 years old and 16. In February, 50-year-old Jordan Van Voorthuizen was arrested in Greece and he was extradited back to Canada earlier this month. As part of his bail conditions, Van Voorthuizen must report to Tabor Police weekly, have no contact with anyone under the age of 16, and he can't possess a computer. During his court appearance this morning, the Crown withdrew the 2 sexual contact with a minor charges. He is still facing 2 charges of sexual assault, though. The case has been set over until June 12th in the Tabor Provincial Court. Dozens of people took a shot at the Lethbridge gun range open house.
Nice, you hit it. Good shot.
The event was part of a new operating agreement range operators signed with the city to keep the facility open. The range was closed in February for 5 weeks over concern that stray bullets were found in a nearby residential area. Gun range officials maintain that the bullets weren't from the facility, but added more redundancies to further improve safety. Members say once they try shooting, people of all ages and abilities get hooked on the sport.
They come here and they see how safe it is, and they see how much fun it is, and they become where that's a big interest to them. The equipment we use, if it's used correctly, as we teach people to use, then it could be a great sport, very enjoyable sport.
The gun range offers a variety of programs for recreation and competition as well. People in Coaldale hit the pavement this weekend to support a good cause. Nearly 300 people participated in Coaldale's 2nd annual Fun Run on Saturday. The event started last year as a way to promote healthy outdoor activity, family time, and community spirit. Participants raised nearly $7,000 for Coaldale Christian School and the Coaldale Food Bank. Well, the pitter-patter of many little feet dominated Exhibition Park this weekend. More than 7,100 people attended the Lethbridge Children's Festival. Air jump houses, petting zoos, temporary tattoos, and stage performances were some of the highlights of this year's event. This is the 2nd year Lethbridge has hosted the one-day entertainment showcase specifically aimed at kids. Well, to the markets today, where the loonie closed on an up note. Here are the final numbers.